socks, underwear, every kind of scarves, whatever you name it in apparel, thousands of items that have been made over the years. So, so without further ado, let's introduce the masters of apparel, Duncan and Todd.
So first of all, is there anybody here who is not currently wearing some form of Star Wars apparel? Not wearing any, yeah. Underwear counts, so you're safe.
Okay, so I'm Todd Chamberlain. I would say I've done a presentation at each one of the domestic celebrations, and this is the one I've been most excited about doing because I love the Kenner toys and I love posters and a lot of other things, but over the last 10 years I've really gotten heavily into collecting this area. And to me, there are a number of exciting collecting areas, vintage pieces that are pretty unusual and hard to find, and I just don't think there's a lot of documentation out there, so I was really excited to finally start getting some information together about this, so I'm really actually do more with that.
This is definitely one of the largest areas of collecting. I mean, everybody will have at least some Star Wars apparel in their collection, you know, I mean, that they probably wear, or very few people actually collect it, but it just builds up in your closet over time. When we Gus and I did a price guide. When we did it, we did over 1,000 t-shirts that are just in that price guide alone. And since then, there have probably been another 2,000 t-shirts that have come out since then, and there's probably another 200 that have been made just today. So it's a big growing and getting bigger. This will show you because we have more slides, I think, in this presentation than probably all the other presentations put together. So we're going to...
We've been dared to get through this presentation.
That's right.
So, but there are a lot of things we're going to try to just move through pretty quickly. But listen, to me, the appeal in this area is that most people have some memory of having Star Wars clothing, or maybe being denied Star Wars clothing as a kid. I only had one Star Wars t-shirt as a young kid. But to me, it's very much it's very symbolic of fandom in many ways. And there are a lot of, to me, what makes any collecting area good is that there are a number of things that are easy to find at relatively inexpensive prices, but that as you continue to collect it over time, there are also some challenging pieces that keep it from things. To me, a set that's really easy to put together and then you're done isn't a lot of fun. And so this is something I've been working on for 10 years, and I can imagine
constantly finding new stuff. Yeah.
We'll get going. So this is not actually my shirt as a child, but a Jawa shirt on orange.
Yes, I don't have that.
Oh,
there we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
It's hard to get through the slides if they don't show.
I think this was an Easter gift that I received. I just happened to find in a collection on orange this shirt. It was the only piece of Star Wars clothing I had as a kid. But in my high school yearbook, I think there are only 3 candid photos of me, and in 2 of them I am wearing, and they're not on the same day, I'm wearing the same Star Wars 10th anniversary shirt that I got in Disneyland in 1986. And there were not a lot of folks that were really into Star Wars in 1989 in my high school days, but there were few.
Yeah. The Star Tours, right? They had some of the 10th anniversary pieces there too. It was probably overstocked from the convention. Yeah, because the 10th anniversary conventions. And so then this is me in 78, or yeah, I think it's 78, maybe 79. Yeah, with some Star Wars pajamas on there. When I was in 8th grade, I did a speech in school and showing all the different Star Wars stuff that they had made at that point. So this was 1980 or so. And I wore over 24 different t-shirts. And so I was like, there are a lot of different Star Wars clothing. They made, red Jawa shirts, and I took it off, and a blue Darth Vader shirt, and took it off. It was kind of fun, but little did I know that, 30 years later, I'd still be talking about Star Wars clothing.
All right, so we're going to cover things kind of by era. So 1977, early on, either you just didn't want to spend the money, or you couldn't find it. People would take, these are just iron-on, you can't really see it great in this photo, but they're prismatic letters, and so they're a very classic era for that.
Very 70s looking.
Here's some early promotional pieces. This is the front and the back of a Fox Records promotional shirt. It's fairly difficult to find. There's another shirt related to the record promotion where you can mail in from the album. I don't have that photo here. And then this is a 20th Century Fox from the film division. There are a couple different variations on these, but we won't get into variations. So, but again, very early theatrical related pieces. So,
interestingly, some of this stuff, those were all like adult size things, but most of what we're going to look at is actually kids size because there was very little adult clothing at the time.
So Factors is the licensee that was one of the very first licensees for most Star Wars products. They were well known for doing the Farrah Fawcett poster. They were doing T-shirt transfers. And Charlie Lippincott, who was the VP of Lucasfilm, who handled most of the licensing deals, said that the benefit of doing T-shirt transfers was that it enabled, so there's no set T-shirt style for any given shirt. They come in all kinds of different sizes, colors. They can be ringer tees, they can be baseball sleeves. But the idea was that you could have kind of high end, low end, be sold. You could just sell the transfers on their own. So, you know, here's the Hildebrand style, which was very popular. But again, we're just going to kind of flip through. The Darth Vader lives.
With Darth Vader misspelled.
Yeah, and if anyone ever tried to sell you like a Darth Vader lives thing as being an error that's rare, every single one was, they never corrected it until they re-released this shirt as a screen print in the 90s, and they corrected it. But there's no such thing as a correct version of it, so it's not a rarity per se. But anyway, this is just to kind of show that these are all the shirts that are shown here are vintage shirts. They came from old collections where it's definitely not, you know, something that's been done recently. People have done recently, but just to show the variety of images that were available.
And you might recognize some of these images on products today, and that's because over the last 10 years or so, they've been adding all the old images. At Lucasfilm, they have a system there that they add them into their computer system, and they're free to the licenses to use. So a sticker company might take these old light iron-on images and put them into a sticker album or different things like that.
Yeah, and just note too that they reissued a few of the actual transfers. So if you're ever in question, kind of ask for the copyright dates, because like this has it looks very much like the vintage one, but it's got a 96 date. So Factors also did screen print shirts, and these are pretty infrequently seen.
Very rare. Yeah.
My original plan for this presentation was I was going to have a hanger rating. I was going to have like one hanger. You can find them on eBay every day, and 2 hangers, you know, once a month, and 5 hangers. And you never see it, but all those aspirations never come true. But anyway, these screen printed shirts I think have really pretty lovely artwork on them, and just are not seen very frequently. And for the most part, the colors are pretty standardized for each of the lines that you do sometimes find, although just to say that one does not see these very often.
No, not at all.
And this one here is one that's been reissued. Like, I don't know, Junk Food or
Right,
Suspenders has redone that Underoos shirt. Here's some, these are just some family friends of mine that we got together at Thanksgiving to kind of show off some of this stuff. A couple hats, these stocking caps that have patches that are sewn on them. But and you can find the patches alone, but I'm pretty sure I've seen enough hats that are done up like this that I think that someone actually was selling them as a line.
Yeah, the company called Bright Red Group, an interestingly named company, but they did these satin jackets. And again, you have these Factors iron-ons and then a patch on the front, both of which were commercially available. But these were sold as jackets this way. These were not made up by fans later on. The pulse zipper has a little Darth Vader helmet on it. And they're very fun and very cool pieces, very difficult to find too.
And just to note on these last two that most of them are windbreakers, but there are 2 that are quilted styles. The quilted styles are quite a bit harder to find. And also that if you look in the full Tomark guide, it lists a red jacket, and despite being a bright red jacket.
That's right.
Liberty trousers. These fabric designs were used in a number of different products. You find laundry bags, and I've actually found you can find shorts, short pants, long pants. Here's another family friend.
Overalls.
You know, you've got the brown fabric style is quite a bit harder to find than the other. And found this pair of athletic shorts.
So 70s.
Only pair of those I've ever
Get some tube socks and pull them up to your knees and you're good to go.
So the family that wears Star Wars pajamas together stays together. You know, this is the quintessential Star Wars family here. And I'll have to say that actually the pajamas of probably any clothing area is by far my favorite. I try to find this stuff in the package, and I've just got one example here of a package actually Rogue. But to me, the designs are really fun. Sometimes the designs are pretty hideous, and I wonder about Lucasfilm.
Right.
You know, Lucasfilm approval is supposed to be really strong, but some of these renditions are pretty horrid, I think, but lovely in their own way. But here they get the Darth Vader lives correct.
With big eyes.
And actually, so one can't, it is much harder to find in all sizes, but I actually have a couple pairs in.
This is what makes collecting this is kind of fun too, where you start saying, okay, well, I've got the Darth Vader lives pajamas, and then you find out, well, there's Darth Vader lives with the helmet, Darth Vader lives with the full figure and the lightsaber, or I've got the Darth Vader helmet with the R2 and the 3PO, and then there's 12 different combinations of each of these.
Yeah, many times I've been sure, oh, I've got to have this, and I already have got it, and then I go like, no, it's actually, I'm not so big on color variation with those, but if it's a different image, and oftentimes the image is different. So those are all kind of like stretchy polyester. This is a little kind of heavier duty fabric robe and pajama set. Here's a nightgown. The nightgown is quite hard to find. This is a really beautiful British pajamas top from Marks and Spencer. So in it's not licensed items. So this is a really glittery, made of the Force Speed, so there are all kinds of unlicensed. So for unlicensed stuff, I prefer vintage era pieces.
Yeah, it's a lot easier today to make up, T-Fury or something like that, to make up new shirts every day. But back then you had to really kind of work at it, and they kind of frowned on it a little bit too. I love how they always have to put the letters all together to make it Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, so everything has to connect to each other.
This one is actually, this guy, John Luna, had a Star Wars car, so I think he did a traveling exhibit, and picked up a t-shirt for that. This is a little bit looser rendition of a polyester shirt from the 70s.
I don't remember Leah looking like that.
And again, all these shirts are really, most of these shirts I'm showing you, these are the only examples I've ever seen. I have no idea. This is actually pretty well done.
That's the way you make that work, right?
Again, this would be from Mexico. Belts and buckles.
So there's a couple of different companies there that did the early ones, the Basic Tool Supply and then Leather Shop. And they're very similar in how they look to each other, but they was 4 or 5 different ones. And so there you can see, these are both the Darth Vader brass belt buckles, but the Basic Tool one is much more refined looking.
Yeah, the Leather Shop is not, the Leather Shop buckles are not brass. They're like some kind of a pop metal. They're high quality, but if you're looking for a brass buckle, Basic Tool Supply. These are some leather-faced buckles. The top 2 are licensed. The 20th Century Fox is licensed, and then the one that's just Star Wars is just carved out into a leather home done thing. So you can find hand tool. There's some hand tool belts that are Frank Pete Milber's picked up some cool examples of. Prismatic stuff, big in the 70s.
Yeah, well, what else could you do in the 70s? More prismatic was better.
Yeah, Prismatic says the future. So, so there's just, again, keep on finding new variations of these. I call this one the chainsaw line. So you'll notice that they're all kinds of different, this one has a border, this one doesn't have a border, and different differences in color. But you can start to, I don't really know who the company is on these, but you can tell, you find stylistic differences and say, oh, this is part of a series. So again, some of these are molded in different colors and painted in different colors.
Enamel background.
Enamel. And I think actually based on the quality of them, I think people bootleg the bootlegs because there's some that have really sharp contrast and some that have lesser contrast, again, which is just never ends. These top two are ones that, those are the only ones I've ever seen of those. The brass Darth Vader, I've maybe seen one other example, and the Lord Vader one down from the bottom level was a mail order. There's a mail order catalog that did like the bootleg Star Wars figures.
And it really shows you a couple of things. It shows you the popularity of Star Wars at this time, and then it shows you the lack of product that was available. I mean, now we can get any kind of apparel that we want in any form, but back then it wasn't available in a licensed form, or was very hard to find in a licensed form, so the fans and companies started making their own.
This piece is a particular favorite of mine because I don't have a picture of the back of it. This is actually marked as a prototype on the back, and it's marked for being from Portland, Oregon, which is my hometown. And it's very official looking, as if they were, it almost made it look like a product demo for something they actually wanted to have produced. But I've actually seen maybe 8 or 10 examples of this now. And I finally found what looks like a bootleg version of this recently. These have enamel. It has like raised, like poison egg, like a raised metal border with an enamel around it. So they're all, even this top one, initially I thought, oh, it's kind of a standalone piece of my own. It's the exact same logo as these other items. So that you don't really start picking up the volume of things that the patterns are. This is a much harder set. The first set of prismatics that I showed that had the characters on them are fairly easy to find, but I guess if I were to hanger rating, I put these as maybe 3 out of 5 or something like that. I don't see these very often.
And then with some belts, the top one there's a licensed belt that has some really good artwork on it, and then the one underneath is an unlicensed version that says "Let the Force be with you."
And again, variations. There's a brown version of that.
Yeah, that's right.
I have the brown version too.
Some Japanese belts there at the top, and the very bottom one also. The bottom one is a clear plastic, and then in the middle there, the whole Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan fight in a belt form is kind of fun.
And these are kind of drab. I put this in there just again to show how many different versions. I mean, you look at this initially and think, oh, I've got that. Like, no, this has got the raised buckle. This has got the sticker buckle. This has got different colors. But those are, yeah, really easy.
Clark's was one of the great Star Wars era licensees. They had just horrible looking 70s shoes for the dress shoes, and then some really cool running shoes.
So that store display there is actually one of my very first ways I got into store display collecting and into apparel collecting. I got one of those back in the 80s. But if you look at these top styles of shoes, there's nothing about them that says Star Wars whatsoever. But they're the kind of shoes that I love to wear. But anyway, the packaging for these is really amazing. And eventually they start realizing that it was around the time that sneakers and tennis shoes were getting more popular and accepted as school clothing. So just want some examples of these. So, these are some pretty unusual, especially.
Yeah. The booties are pretty much fun there.
Yeah, these are licensed pieces, but I don't know who the manufacturer.
No.
They've got copyright information on them.
And even in packaging, the packaging doesn't have the company name on them either. It just has like catalog numbers and things like that. But we've never been able to track down who the licensee is on these.
So there's some similar products now, but it was 30 years before something like those booties that came out.
And the Japanese, the boat shoes there, you can see they just don't go with a lot of the same artwork and things like that you're familiar with. They kind of do their own thing, and then the shoes, they're kind of the typical traditional style Japanese shoe without the heel on the left there.
These are some British slippers. I kind of know the shoes. For the most part, the leather shoes, the soles are going to be fine, but just to know that if you're interested in buying the old sneakers, they're almost always rock hard rubber. The same thing with the soles on these, so be careful with them. these are some different artwork that we don't see on US stuff. And then I don't believe that these are licensed.
I'm not sure.
We don't see any information on them. These, again, they're supposed to be soft rubber, but you usually find them pretty hard.
Very, very hard by now. And those are the only two we've ever found too.
So socks. There are a lot of socks, but we do a whole presentation on socks.
And we may someday.
But what started, I think I got my first socks. They were tucked away in things like Diga dishes that I bought in the 80s. These are kind of cool, stick them aside. And this is just my stuff. Those are fairly deep bins filled with all kinds of variations. Again, they're very different color and size.
Yeah, but the colors of the tops.
The color stripes and the late, half.
Girls knee highs and boys tube socks.
But a lot of different unusual characters you can get.
Yeah, like 21B. I mean, for all you 21B focused collectors out there, that's right. There's you gotta get the socks.
So now we're at Empire. So Empire continued to have the factory transfers, although they switched to having more of a glitter.
Yeah,
even for late Star Wars, they switched to more of a glitter style. So the fan club, we ordered this T-shirt. I do not know. It's got copyright, but I don't know the licensee.
And I have the hat that matches this, and the same thing. I don't know who it's from or who did it, but some of the typical line art that you would see combined there, and some interesting characters.
This was a prize shirt of some kind for the Atari video game from '83, I guess. So this is a Dixie Cup mail away offer. This was there was a Kenner sponsored John Wayne's Music Festival in 1982
in Cincinnati, and they had a really cool poster for it too, with Darth Vader and lightsaber conducting. Very hard to find a T-shirt for it.
So perfect fit of Australia to these kind of fun, real dynamic printed artwork. Get back to the pajamas. So again, you look at these, and it's mostly, I guess, color differences on those two. But it's not just color differences in the shirt, color differences in the artwork itself to accommodate different shirts.
Vader becomes much more prominent there, but that's kind of an interesting one too. The Luke, I mean, just a very unusual pose.
And also annoying that his face is more of it's kind of crazy. This is some Australian, they just have their sort of futuristic little kind of space epaulets on the shoulders there. And
Mr. Garment, I think, was the name.
so union underwear, some people may feel like I'm coming here for a full-on Underoos presentation. My feeling was that Underoos, I love the Underoos, but they've been
Everybody knows them.
So this is just a selection of styles in the Underoos line. Just a note, any of the thermal styles for both Empire and Jedi are generally the harder to find out of the line. But the same company that made Underoos also made screen print shirts starting in '82. And to me, these are some of the very toughest to find vintage shirts of any kind. It's sort of a transition era that still enough popularity to be selling things, but it wasn't. They probably weren't producing large volumes of it. So I just picked up both of these shirts within the last 6 months. And some of the there were samples of Lucasfilm licensing archives. So we have Pro Droid collectors. For all you Imperial Pro Droid collectors, these are holy grail right here. I've never seen another. So I really didn't think most of these shirts had been produced 5 years ago because I hadn't seen anything to start doing them.
It's kind of an interesting one. You don't ever see the X-Wing without the S-foils in attack position, but if you think about it, Empire Strikes Back, they never actually open the wings, so this is the only movie after it.
An asteroid.
Yeah, exactly. The pictographics and like the Yoda signature on both of these is kind of interesting. There too. What they do is when Lucasfilm would get letters from people wanting autographs from the stars and stuff, they would send them obviously towards Carrie or Harrison or him or whoever was asking if they wanted. But sometimes they would get, dear Yoda, can you send me your autograph? And so they actually have photos of Yoda with this signature. That was his pre-printed autograph. So here you can have a pajama with Yoda's autograph on it.
So this is one, and again, this is not a one-off, because now I've seen probably 3 different examples of this from different sources. Somebody made it, it's the Kenner line art for the ad, but I'm not sure, I don't know how it was distributed, but I initially got one and thought, oh, someone just made up a shirt somehow years ago. Somebody was actually making it sell.
There's more belts and buckles now for Empire. The one at the top there, you might remember we saw it under Star Wars, but now they've just updated it with the Empire logo, and then underneath that's a nice one from Mexico with the Spanish Empire Strikes Back logo and each of the characters along there.
The Suspenders, the 3PO Suspenders are my...
Oh, you don't have that one, huh?
I probably have actually 3 to 4 different pairs each now of different colors of the other 2. I just put these in as examples to show that the color, so there are different colors of suspenders, but with the same, but there's also a see-through video that goes with this series, and I found out I missed a set in the package for $15 if you want to. I was like, it's on the close listing, so I was very, very bitter. I will eventually find my see-through suspenders.
It's always good to have a holy grail.
So, and some of these are going to be kind of a mixed era now. They may not all be from the Empire, but we got the Empire Dixie Cups, Return of the Jedi,
The High C,
and then 1984 C-3PO cereal.
from Canada, yeah, with the captain.
Scrambled eggs.
Thinking Cap was one of the great licensees for clothing. They just did these 3 caps there with it. Oh, I didn't put that one in there, did I? Yeah, no, there's the 4th one, yeah. But the Imperial hat, officer hat, I always liked because it was the closest thing, to costumes that we had back in those days that were kind of screen accurate. And then the Yoda ears, you can't go wrong with a big hat that has Yoda ears sticking out in case you didn't get it, his name emblazoned on the front.
It's kind of like the Ben Cooper costumes. It's like the costume is, it says Darth Vader right on the front of the
Picture of Darth Vader with the
but the Yoda hats, I think now I have 6 or 7 different color variations of that hat. They're all fun things to do with that.
From Australia and Japan, some visors. The Japanese ones are from Star Wars era, and then the Empire Rite reflective things, because that's what you want in the Desert Suns of Australia, is something that can instantly blind you when you look at somebody that's wearing them. That's kind of a cool one. We didn't do any cast and crew apparel. We think that other talks have covered that in the past. And we just wanted to focus on more licensed things and unlicensed pieces. But this is one that would be for like an employee, and it just kind of has that WKRP in Cincinnati Johnny Fever feel to it, just the satin record company executive jacket there with the RSO guy on the back. So.
This Australian poncho is pretty fun. The same company, I think it's the Storms.
Yes.
Yeah, they use some really licensed artwork that's got used in other licensed products, but used in different ways than one can. Again, Imperial Pro-Droid.
Pro-Droid shows up again, yeah. That's right. So if you want a new focus, go for the Pro-Droid.
So this is a premiere t-shirt for Return of the Jedi premiere, a local premiere. I've only seen one example of this. This one in Colorado is one that I see turn up a little bit more often. This ticket, so you actually, I've seen pictures of people actually wearing these shirts. This was your ticket to get into the movie. I said it'd be clear, like this one is actually for the day before, and then this is for
In the UK, they did a similar one when they did the double bill. They did a Star Wars and Empire double bill about this time too, and they had T-shirts that were available for those as well.
This is a high C mail away item. Back to Union underwear.
Yeah. But less glitter now. Now that we've moved into the mid '80s, the glitter's gone, but the iron are still there. That's right.
There are a whole, so this is just a few examples of a pretty extensive line, but you'll notice a difference. These are photo based, but then there's this line of more artwork-based transfers that I find to be pretty hard to find. And here's another example from it. Here's just a pretty plain screen print shirt, but then they get a pretty extensive line of these other screen print shirts just to show an example of it. Some of them are, you've got different colors, and some of them are on tank tops. Some of them are on like sports jerseys.
The 3/4 length concert tees.
They've got sort of a pop art sensibility to them, Admiral Akbar. My brother had the Admiral Akbar. Orion Guard. This job of that. I love the one. Like baseball, to me, basically, when I was in grade school, baseball sleeves were like the coolest shirt. This one's got a good sleeve, so. Now this, I was convinced until 2 months ago. I bought an example of this shirt from someone about 4 years ago who had bought a lot of stuff when Lucasfilm got rid of their licensing art. Celebration 4 here in LA, they sold a lot of things that had auctioned off a lot of things for charity that they had in their licensing archives and plus things that had sold in thrift stores and different places. I had picked up this shirt from someone and I was convinced that this is, I'd never seen an example of this shirt. I thought this is just an unproduced example. And then 2 months ago, I bought off eBay. I found someone that was like, hey, look, someone has this a shirt and it's got a store tag on it, and they had a couple other shirts that I thought were unproduced as well. So it's just, I guess, an example of the fact that it's something. So that, to me, that's what's exciting about this area. There's just a lot of stuff that is still not known, and so who knows what other things we're continuing to find. So this Rancor shirt is again, I got one with this little archive source. It's the only example I've seen. But all the kind of sportswear from the sales floor. Actually, no, this actually is the sales floor. So the sales floor, sweatsuits, they make sweatsuits and shorts and running shorts that just said Return of the Jedi and Super English Dangers and these Ewok pieces are, here we go. We all look good in these, didn't we? We all look great, right? So these are from Cortex of Australia. You get some pretty unusual artwork that you don't see only on those at line. A lot of kinds of things in different countries that just reuse U.S. stuff that they have their own design. I paid $400, not for the shirt, but for a lot of other things just to get this t-shirt because I didn't have any examples of anything from this line. It worked out fine in the end. I got sold the other stuff that I kept on trying to convince this person to split up a lot of stuff who was actually in Switzerland. But like,
they wouldn't.
I want this shirt.
And the only one I have from that line is just the Return of the Jedi logo, so it's a very kind of boring one. But it's the only one that I have too.
I'm not sure if what the origin of this is. It's the Marvel 81 cover.
Yeah, I don't know anything on these.
There's another. It's kind of weird, unlicensed Return of the Jedi shirt.
Like why Luke and Fortuna would need to be on the shirt together. And Luke, you can kind of see it's just his head, and then his just outline is just kind of it's there, but it's just kind of weird.
Just look quickly through the pajamas.
Lots of different Ewok stuff at this time.
Here's another one I just recently picked up and said this is super thick. I mean, usually the shirts are like real thin. They can be more summer. This came from someone in Colorado. I mean, this is like almost like fleece. Nightgown, robe. The robes, the Jedi robes are fairly difficult to find.
Back to belts now, kind of a blue-green combo for the Ewoks. Both the Wicked the Ewok logo on this and the Return of the Jedi logo. And then, as we saw from the very beginning with the Star Wars, these fabric belts are still sticking around with the enamel buckles, the enamel buckles. Like the gloves, there was some gloves and mittens that Salesforce did, and pretty difficult to track down.
Mesh back caps. Moving along a little bit here, but like another example of rain is reindeer. There's ponchos and there's different colors. You can basically get each one of these as a poncho or in a different color. But this Yoda jacket, I had never seen that design until a couple months ago, and someone had it, and they didn't want to sell it, but then I found another one from another source. But again, just the idea that there's a lot of undocumented material out there. Just friends having a good time. Some slippers from Stride Rite, and then some British slippers. The slipper socks.
Are they slippers or are they socks?
The ones that say Return of the Jedi on them is the way I usually see them, but I've seen them multiple times. These, I don't know if they were overstocked or just like a store brand of some kind, but I've seen them multiple times. More stocking caps. The Sales Corp also made show pictures of leg warmers, but they also made scarves. But I've only ever seen one Wicked scarf ever for sale. The scarves are just crazy hard to find. I was hoping this Colorado collection would have them. Someone who lives at the whole point. Who's seen a lot of clothing. She had a lot of other clothing stuff.
The fan club item that was very nice was this Han Solo vest. This was out during the Jedi era. You find them both with the Return of the Jedi patch sewn on the breast and whatnot. And then my favorite was the Luke Bespin jacket. I just always thought that was such a neat jacket, but they made those available for sale. And then they've reissued them in the 90s.
And a quick way to, so that comparison photo there, a quick way to tell the difference between the original and the second. The fabric, if you see them in person, the fabric is different too, but the quick way to identify them is that the original 80s one has this kind of metallic Empire Strikes Back tag in the back. So that's a clear deal. Absolutely describe the feel of the material. So, 10th anniversary, lots of things came out. There were, well, between the 10th anniversary and Star Tours, there was quite a bit of clothing that came back out again. So we're just going to do a very small amount of that. But 10th anniversary piece. These this is a embroidered patch on the back of this jacket. There's also a black version with white stripes.
Yeah, the Star Tour is very satiny, kind of late 80s. Look good at the club. Star Tour's jacket there.
Nothing said in the future like satin.
That's right. They did a lot of, I mean, they've done a lot of new stuff, but this initial rollout, there was some really fun pieces. Some Droids, R2 and 3PO, getting on the Star Tours things, a lot of them running around holding luggage and fun things like that you really just don't see in any of the other licensed products.
This is, like I said, this should have, it's in the 10th anniversary section, or it's a 10th anniversary item, but it's got a Disney tag on it, and it's got puffy paint on it, because again, in the 80s, we loved our puffy paint on the shirt. This is they made a one-size-fits-all nightgown that, again, is sold at Disney, but I mean, it is truly gargantuan. I mean, it is, yeah.
One size fits three.
Yeah. Video promotion item.
That's a really tough one to find there.
I don't know. I feel like I got this from Europe somewhere, but I don't know if it doesn't have copyright. No, I think it does have copyright. I don't know the word. That's why I wrote it on the word.
It's more belts there. They get a little more creative. I mean, you would think that second belt there, that Droids one, the fabric one, is an unlicensed one, but it's not. It's actually licensed. But that robot and those spaceships and the Saturn, none of that looks like anything from the Droids cartoon at all. Just the buckle, which is a really nice buckle, but the rest of that's just kind of ridiculous. And then the pink belt there with the Ewoks and all that sort of thing. The bottom one is just kind of a bland, again, just spaceships of 1950 spaceships in space, but a really good R2 3PO buckle.
These shoes, and 89?
Yes.
So they got one piece is actually, I think I said the range of years was to 90, one later piece after this next year. In the Philippines, of all places, I mean, it's I don't know, why the Philippines?
There was a high demand for Ewok shoes in the Philippines. And
I guess there were some other items Star Wars hung on strong in the Philippines, and so, but the only examples I have seen of these, they were all
From the Lucasfilm archives.
so, but, and then obviously this one's outside the originally that we did in 1990, but I thought this Kitten Kids 1992. I don't know what country it is. It's not on the archive license, so, but I think it's pretty fun. Have a furry and wonderful Sunday.
Yeah.
Or
Sunday, too.
Yeah.
I don't know, you can have a furry and wonderful or a Sunday.
maybe it's a Sunday meets me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is our presentation. We can field questions now, and then we'll go next door after a little bit.
Was there ever any clothing for the Star Wars holiday special?
Yeah, so we have a mic right here in the center, so if you have a question, come on down I heard your question, so the question was, but anyone else that wants to line up, go ahead. So the question was, is there any apparel for the Star Wars holiday special? Good question, I don't know of any.
I can't think of anything that's really good.
No.
It was so popular.
It was so popular, they totally missed out on the boat. There was $50 to $60 that could have been made off of that.
I think there would actually be a big B. Arthur Star Wars
Yeah,
There we
market.
go, you could get some Acmina costumes or something.
I wanted to know if what your holy grails are, like what you're still looking for.
Those 3PO suspenders. And again, to me, that's what's fun about this. When I find those 3PO suspenders, I mean, I don't expect to pay more than $20 or $30. I mean, to me, a holy grail is not about value. I mean, to me, these are things, this is a fun area. There are still things within the general scheme of Star Wars that I would expect to pay a lot of money for to get. But to me, this is fun because it keeps me occupied in collecting them. This like I said, the pair that I missed, brand new mid pair, I just missed the listing, and I think it was like $17 or $18. So, but yeah, to me, that's the last one of the character set.
I would say for me, it's a lot of the non-US things that I've just never seen before. So I know that there's licensees, for example, for A New Hope, Italy did a leather jacket or a wool coat or something like that. I've never seen a picture of it. I think that would be fascinating to see. And then related, Todd has a poster for the Clarks. One of the premiums that they did was called the Space Pack, and it was this fun little pop-out helmet that you could make and a little Millennium Falcon cockpit kind of thing game. And he's got the poster for that. I would love to see. I would love to get one of those.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Well, we will be next door. But thank you all for coming and enjoy the rest of the celebration.
As you guys exit, go out.